Do you think that there is really such a thing as Mr. Right Time?
I do think that timing is really important in relationships. I think actually it might be one of the most key things in relationships. Because I think about this, because Rob and I talk about this, because I think, because we get on so well, and I think, why didn't we meet when we were in our 20s? You know, I wish I had to date all those losers before him, and gosh, why couldn't I have just met him? And actually I think it's the way it was supposed to be, because if I'd met him in his 20s, he would have just completely screwed it up. I mean, he would have been off his face, he would have been cheating, he would have, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, I think. But, you know, I just think he would have ruined it, and we wouldn't be married with kids and really happy. I think.
So you don't think something would have happened and?
Well, I think we would have liked each other. And then I think he would have done something really daft and just messed it up completely. And then I would have been like, I'm not talking to you.
Does he agree with you on that?
Yeah, I think he does. I think, you know, I think he's aware. I think you have to be in the right place to receive a relationship, and I think. That's how the universe works, is you meet people in a certain time in your life and there's a reason for it. But I think for a relationship to work, you both have to want the same thing or be open to finding love. And if you're, you know, if Amber Heard wants to go out and party and go to clubs, and Johnny Depp wants to stay home and
be a bit weird
in the dark with his friends, you know, it's not gonna work.
You're right. But I don't think it is about, obviously there's a lot of attention on their age gap, isn't it? But I don't think it is necessarily that. I mean, Peter and Emily, knowing them both a little bit, you know, she's a very mature girl, you know, she's really got her head screwed on, and Pete is a bit of a lovable puppy. So, you know, I think they also kind of come together
each other out
that way, you know.
I also think, like, more than age difference, I think couples can work when they're 20 years apart, and they cannot work when they're 1 year apart. I think more of a danger is when you get together with someone really young and you're 18 or you're 16, and then all of a sudden, you know, we all change so much as we get older, and you're a completely different person at 30 than you are at 16, and I think it's really hard.
Andrew, Nick.
I agree with all of that. I mean, obviously, I did that. I met my first love at school. We were teenagers. We were together right the way through until our mid-30s, and that relationship didn't work. And obviously, we grew in different directions. And obviously, I'm really happy with Nick now. And we've both talked about the fact that we met at the right time. And we don't regret meeting earlier, because I don't think it would have worked either. I think he was in a very different place. I was in a very different place. I think we would have kind of bumped against each other rather than... I think he was ready to sort of deconstruct his life and start again, if that makes sense, because he had an image of how he thought he should be, and I think when...
So what would he have been like if you'd met him at 30 then?
I think he was quite cocky. You know, I think that he thought he was sure of himself, but actually that was on the outside. I think on the inside he was actually quite insecure. And I think when a marriage ends at any point, you have to sort of take a stand back and take responsibility for your actions, and then look at how you're moving forward, which is what he did. So he was at a point of his life where he was ready to start again. I was at a point in my life where, to be honest, I wasn't interested in I'd already been through all of that sort of stuff. But I'm a natural sort of helper. I like helping people through, and when we met, I was ready to sort of partner with someone, and he was ready to partner with someone. And actually, what's happened is we've been like that, and we've helped each other through. So we've met at exactly the right time, and I'm really happy now. It's good. It's all good.
I mean, that ready to partner is quite an interesting thing, isn't it? I don't think I've ever been aware of it.
I was going to say, what about
ready to partner? Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to partner. Well, I've been a partner for 20 years, I suppose. But yeah, no, there were a couple of... I've had a couple of dalliances in my time. No, there was a couple of occasions.
So you've been around, didn't you, love?
I've been around, No, a guy did.
For ages.
Asked me to marry him, and despite the fact he was the wrong guy anyway. But, I mean, there's no way I was at an age all through my 20s that I ever thought that I was ready to sort of have that kind of relationship. It's not what I wanted at all. So it wouldn't have mattered who it was. And, I mean, there was a kind of early boyfriend who, if I had met him when I was 32, probably that would have been it. You know, and you can look back and think, oh my goodness, should have taken that opportunity at the time. But and Ian, thank God, is out the country, so he's not listening to this. But No, it's the right
it was
person,
right person,
and the
wrong
right
at the
time.
wrong
It is
time.
a combination of it, I think.
I think I met Mark at the right time. I'd been with someone for 11 years that was a bit of a serial cheater. Could never really trust him and that. And then Mark, who I'd known from when we were young, bumped into him in a park one day, and just right from the very off, it was like he didn't want to go, on holiday on his own. He didn't want to party with his mates or anything. Anything he wanted to do, he wanted me to be part of it. And I thought, oh, this is what a relationship's supposed to be like. You're meant to be part of. Yeah, it really, really was refreshing. And here we are, 27 years later, still together. And I think that was the right time.
For more Loose Women action, click here. And I'd subscribe if I were you. It's totally free, and it means you'll be kept up to date with new videos and exclusive YouTube content.
I think Rob thought that engagement was the final frontier. I don't think he thought there was like wedding after that. He was like, you got the ring, it's done. So it came as a surprise to him that there was a wedding to follow. It was like the 2 to the 1. So after we got engaged, he was like, I don't know why we're talking about weddings. We got engaged. So finally, I know. I felt like fake fiancé for a bit.